Alex Jones is wrong about a lot.
Stephen, you and I disagree.
But he's also
Stephen, you and I disagree. Hang on.
Believed it, and
I'm going to respond to you. You and I disagree about many things. We agree about many too. One I agreed with and one I didn't. And I'm exercising my free speech rights to say I don't agree with it. Welcome back to Uncensored. Last week I criticised Elon Musk's decision to allow the massacre-denying conspiracy theorist Alex Jones to return to X, formerly Twitter. Some people weren't happy. They included the influential Conservative personality Steven Crowder. This is what he had to say on his show, Louder with Crowder, about me.
This brings us to Piers Morgan's rules for me. He hosted Alex Jones on his very own program this year. Piers Morgan doesn't understand what freedom of speech is. Piers Morgan has also hosted Suhail Shaheen, the Taliban spokesperson. Jeez. Wahid Asif Shaita, an Islamist extremist leader. Jeremy Corbyn, the anti-Semitic Labour Party leader. Just Piers, stop it. I'm sorry. Fraud. There we go.
Well, in the spirit of hosting very controversial people on my free speech platform, I'm now joined by Steven Crowder, who can call me a free speech hypocrite to my face. Mr. Crowder, good day to you. How are you?
Let's go. Okay, I heard what you said on my show. I pulled up. Now I got him on here to say it to my face. What? Say it to my face. Say it to my face. Say it to my face. Now you hit me first. Now you swing first. He gonna pull him up there so he can start a fight with him, man.
Oh yeah.
Well, thank you, Piers. Merry Christmas. And let me say off the bat, I do actually appreciate about you. Your audience may not know how rare this is, that you do these interviews live, you don't chop them up, you actually have a discussion, and I've been advocating for that my whole life. So really, I appreciate it. Those are steps in the right direction.
Well, they are. And to be honest with you, the debate about what constitutes free speech and whether there should be limits and if there should be, what they are, I think is really interesting. And a lot of people have strong opinions about this. And I'm perfectly happy to be proven wrong, or to at least have a debate with someone who's got strong views that don't necessarily tally with mine. So I welcome you to the programme. Let's start with your assessment.
It's about to go down.
That I'm a free speech hypocrite. So articulate to me why you believe that.
I believe the word I used there was fraud.
You earlier used hypocrite.
Did I earlier? Okay, I don't remember saying it, but I'll take your word for it. And to some degree, I believe it. Look,
This is how conversations are supposed to be had, man. There will be no wars. Like, let's talk about this. And as long as nobody get all super emotional, I don't like your criticism of me. We gotta fight now. I gotta blow your country up. Nah, everything could be handled over conversation if people were man enough to have it. But people just aren't man enough to have it. So shout out to Piers Morgan and Steven Crowder for this conversation. I'm not going to interrupt that much.
I think that in hosting a show uncensored, and I can't see you, but I know you put up the very festive holly leaf on the globe there. It is incumbent upon you. You will say, I believe in the concept of free speech. Now, I'll be very clear in my definition of free speech. It's the constitutional definition of freedom of speech. All speech is permissible outside of a crime, and we have very clear parameters, and these have been affirmed by the Supreme Court, as to what that is. That's a proactive call for violence. The crime is not the speech. The crime is the action causing violence on purpose. Outside of that, everything is permissible. But for a show uncensored, and I know that you said there's a difference between across the pond there, and obviously in the United States, we have a First Amendment that you don't. How would you define freedom of speech?
Well, I don't think we're as far apart as you think. I mean, you talk about the First Amendment not protecting, for example, crime. It's a little bit more complicated. For example, it doesn't protect you if you deliberately defame somebody. And my argument about Alex Jones in particular was that he's just been punished with over $1 billion fine in one of the biggest defamation cases in modern American history for deliberately telling lies about the families of the poor victims of the Sandy Hook massacre over a sustained period of time, which led to them getting direct harassment and other criminal activity. So I was joining all the dots there of his particular situation, and I concurred with Elon Musk's original view when he was asked about it when he first bought Twitter last year, which was he was not going to allow him back on. He's now changed his mind, but my opinion was based on the Constitution of the United States not protecting you if you are guilty of defamation?
Well, okay, so I'm going to have to take the rounds out of that magazine from how loaded that question was and so much misinformation there. And that's the beauty of the freedom of speech. You can say that, you can speak misinformation, and you have the right to, for example, saying he knowingly lied. Look, I'm not in the business of defending everything that Alex Jones has said, okay? But if you're going to say the 22 minutes out of 8,000 hours of broadcast time for which he apologized, acknowledged that he was wrong, constitutes what you are saying is proactively lying. That is a very dangerous precedent. It's not accurate.
Hang on, Stephen.
It's not accurate.
Stephen, he did deliberately lie for a sustained period of time, for years, about these families. He knew Sandy
Tell me how
Hook.
he deliberately lied.
He knew that.
Tell me how he
deliberately lied. And he was found to have deliberately lied.
Tell me how he deliberately lied.
And by the way, in his defense, he tried...
Tell him, Piers. That's it. He's just saying, tell me how he deliberately lied. Just tell him. Just tell him. All right, so he did it this way, and this how he did it, and this how he did it, and this how. It's easy to do it, man. Just this how this. It's been proven. Okay, is that what he's saying? He's saying, okay, maybe he's saying, well, it's already been told how he deliberately lied. I just can't remember exactly how he deliberately lied. See, that would be how people would get me in a conversation. They will make me start to go right into the facts and start talking about exactly where I seen it. You know what I mean? So now I got to remember everything. I seen it when I saw it, and I was like, ooh, he lied. And I didn't remember it because it's not that important to me. It could be one of those things. But also, if you don't know how he deliberately lied, maybe you should fall back and stop saying that he deliberately lied.
How he deliberately lied, please.
In his defense, he tried to play the First Amendment card, and it was rejected by the judge. Rejected.
Tell me how he deliberately lied, please.
Because he knew that it wasn't a hoax. He knew the massacre had happened.
Incorrect.
Let's listen to what he said.
That's incorrect.
Let's play what he said.
Hook, it's got inside job written all over it. Sandy Hook is a synthetic, completely fake, with actors, in my view, manufactured. I couldn't believe it at first. People just instinctively know that there's a lot of fraud going on. But it took me about a year with Sandy Hook to come to grips with the fact that the whole thing was fake.
Whole thing was fake. Repeatedly. That's a series of different shows he did.
You still haven't answered. You still haven't answered. That doesn't prove that he knowingly lied anything.
But
Look, Alex Jones is wrong about a lie.
You're a very smart...
Alex Jones is wrong about a lie.
Stephen, you and I disagree.
But he's also...
Stephen, you and I disagree. Hang on.
It and
I'm going to respond to you. You and I disagree about many things. We agree about many too. Right? But on this point, you're a very smart guy. I wouldn't question that for a moment. You and I both know Alex Jones knew that was not faked, Sandy Hook. You and I both know that.
So I have to spit the words out that you just tried to place in my mouth. I do not know that. I don't agree with the premise. And you have yet to prove it. Here's the beauty, though.
I don't have to prove it.
Even if you were to commit defamation, even if... No, it didn't. And even assuming that you don't discuss the caps with your audience, and I'm going to continue speaking as though we're having a dialogue, even assuming that you don't discuss the caps, that he would never pay out, the far lower settlement that they have decided they would allow, considering this will go to a superior court and will get thrown out, even if you allow all of those things, here's the beauty of the First Amendment. Here's the beauty of the First Amendment. Even if you at one point commit defamation, you still don't forfeit your right to speak going forward. You don't lose a fundamental human right.
I agree.
And that's not why he was banned from. That's not why he was banned from Twitter.
I
know that.
He was banned from Twitter. He was banned from Twitter for having a pop at some guy from CNN. I don't care about that. I'm more interested in why Elon Musk tweeted when he bought Twitter and was asked, will you bring back Alex Jones? He said, no, I won't allow somebody back on, having gone through the pain himself of a child dying in his own arms, one of his children. He wasn't going to allow someone who profited from the pain of dead children to be back on the platform. He then changed his mind, which he's allowed to do. He owns the platform. X is a private company owned by Elon Musk. He can do what he likes with it. But they also have a series of rules which are available on their website, which you can check about what is allowed and not allowed. And they will deplatform you if you transgress those rules. And my point to you is that the situation with Alex Jones is that he was found guilty in an American court of defamation. And yes, it's entirely down to Elon Musk that he can bring him back. But I agree with the first version of Elon Musk's decision-making, not the second one based on a completely undemocratic poll he put on his own Twitter feed.
Well, I agree with you that it shouldn't be left to a Democratic poll because the First Amendment is not subject to a vote.
Right. But you accept the First Amendment of the US Constitution has a number of things which are excluded from protection, whether it's child pornography, fraud, defamation. There's a whole list of things which you'll simply.
But that has nothing to do with speech.
No, but you're conflating.
Piers.
But I think you've mischaracterized what I said then, because I've never said he hasn't got a right to say what he wants. He can say what he likes. I believe fundamentally in anyone's right to say whatever they want. The question is accountability. And the US Constitution, which you don't think I know anything about, but actually I know a lot about. And I'm a huge...
I didn't say you don't know anything about it. I really don't believe that. I know that you have studied it.
In another clip from that same show you did, you basically said, I don't know much about the US Constitution because I'm not American. And that's fine. But I'd have lived...
Piers is from... He's ready to fight. Piers is ready to fight. Not physically fight, not fisticuffs, but he's ready to defend his, like, you said this about me, bro. Nah, yeah, you did say this. Calm down, Piers. Calm down. But this is what men's supposed to do. Men are supposed to have conversations. Yeah, they hear from their own ways of hearing things. I mean, it's the way Piers understand things is not the way Steven Crowder understand things. If they understood things the exact same way without this conversation being had, it would be disingenuous. They are two completely different people on two different sides of the world. You know what I mean? So it's the way Steven Crowder understands it is probably in its most purest form, not worthy of conviction or anything like that, because he don't buy into it the way that Piers Morgan does.
Worked in America for 20 years. I have tried to really get a handle on the US Constitution and on the issue of the First Amendment. It is a complicated thing. It's not as simple as saying you can say whatever you want. Well, it is, because it doesn't allow the unfettered free speech, but with protection that you're suggesting it does.
It absolutely does.
It doesn't.
It absolutely does, barring, would you like me to explain, barring what I've already outlined? Actual criminal behavior calling for violence against other people. For example, Pierce, look,
yeah, but
you know that you have been...
Let him talk, bro.
I'm saying this in your defense. For example, you made your joke about being a two-spirited penguin, right? I thought it was cute. I think it was funny. And I understand the point that you were trying to make, okay? You have had people accuse you of creating violence against trans. You know that, and we know it's absurd. So who defines what is actually calling for violence, or if you
but here's
basically in a roundabout way maybe causing violence? No, unless you called for violence.
No, but you keep saying that
you were a two-spirited
penguin. But you keep saying that your only barrier on free speech is crime.
Yes.
And I keep reminding you that Alex Jones was found guilty of defamation, and that is one of the things that's not protected by the First Amendment.
No. It's not protected in you can have civil damages, and your First Amendment rights don't cease to exist. In other words, you can pay. You can pay the piper for what you have done in that individual instance. So if someone accuses you of defamation, and let's say has a suit levied against you that actually by God is successful, let's say that, does that forbid you from speaking publicly thereafter?
No,
you don't lose it. It's a fundamental human right.
Not at all. But it does allow, I'm exercising my rights to free speech to say I think he shouldn't be allowed back on X, which was the position of the owner of X until last week. So my point is that Elon Musk has made two judgment calls about this. One I agreed with and one I didn't. And I'm exercising my free speech rights to say I don't agree with it.
You are. And I completely support your right to that. The problem is Elon Musk changed his mind in the face of new information. And if we want to have productive dialogues, we need to, you know what? This is one thing I often ask. And by the way,
that is a mic drop. That is a mic drop. No, your stance was originally to kick him off, and now your stance is to turn it back around. And my freedom of using my freedom of speech, I'm going to. No, he said, well, he found out some new information. Like that's like the way it's supposed to be. If a criminal is arrested for something that they didn't do, and then some new information comes out that, oh, you know what? For the last 7 years we had the wrong guy. Yeah, we should probably get him, release him. You know what I mean? It's the same thing when people get new information. You know what? I was wrong. My bad. Regular conversations or regular relationships with people. I mean, if you judge somebody based off of what you thought they did or thought they said, and then you found out that wow, I was wrong all that time. The adult thing to do is to go back and say, you know what? My bad. I apologize. You know what I mean?
Productive dialogues. We need to, you know what? This is one thing I often ask. And by the way, I think that none of this is a gotcha for Twitter clicks. I hope to God it's not. How often, when you were on CNN, or how often when you were on your morning show there in the UK, or how often do you see on any news network someone say, you know what? New information came out and I was wrong. And I say that because you've done it and I appreciate it. You said, you know what? If I knew what I know now about the COVID vaccine, specifically that if you get the COVID vaccine, you cannot transmit it.
Yeah.
If I knew that that was incorrect, I wouldn't have espoused the views that I did.
Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think the problem that we have in today's society is not wanting to allow people to be wrong, to make mistakes. In the realm of comedy, look, good jokes and bad jokes come from the same place. Sometimes you have to risk something and it's not funny.
But I agree
Sometimes
with
you
you
have
about
to
all
express
that.
an opinion.
Yeah, but I agree with you about all that.
Sure.
I agree with that. I tell you, that's really
Hey, I think that was a mic drop right there. But Piers Morgan is just being stubborn right now. I mean, in my opinion, look, we all have two things: a booty hole and an opinion. All right? I know that much. I know that daggone much. All right? I just think that he's being stubborn right now. I mean, but he's calling him out. He heard Steven Crowder say some things about him, and he want to call him to the mat and be like, all right, let's handle this. Let's handle that. I doubt he's going to tell him, yeah, you're right. You know what? Yeah, you whooped my ass on my own show.
really the bedrock of the show. But I come back again to why I had a particular issue
My
with
internet
the
is
Alex
internet-ing.
Jones thing, is that unlike the other circumstances you're describing, in his case, he was found guilty of a serious defamation against the Sandy Hook families. He was fined over $1 billion. So far, he's not paid a dime of that money. And, you know, Elon Musk has made 2 calls on him. Like I said, the first one I agreed with. I don't think that people like Alex Jones should be allowed an unchallenged, unfettered public platform to spew lies which are done deliberately, in my estimation, to spew lies.
Unchallenged?
Are
you out of your tree, sir?
He's unchallenged.
It's a cesspool.
No.
Where anyone can say anything they
People
like.
can reply to him, but no one can have a direct challenge to Alex Jones, like I did when he came on my show.
Of course they can.
Look, like you picked out, for example, that he came on my show, Jeremy Corbyn, Taliban spokesman, and so on. Yes, because in each of those cases, I put them through the mincer, right? And I'm prepared to have them on to give them a hard time and challenge them. You might agree or disagree with that, but they're all pretty volatile interviews.
He's saying that he's unchallenged because Alex Jones won't come on his show. But everybody all over the internet challenges that dude, man. They go at that dude's neck. But he's saying he's unchallenged. I would say this though. Piers Morgan, although he's just, his back is up against the ropes and he's still trying to fight his way up off of it. His concern is real to him. All right. So let's not discount that. He is coming from a real place. Is it a real fake place? Probably. Contentious place, pretentious place. Don't know. But at the end of the day, man, it is a real place.
But I was able
conversation,
to
man. Good conversation.
Their untruths, right? I'll show you a clip of the Corbyn one to show you what I mean. Have a look at this.
You seem to be
Hang on,
over-concerned with
anti-Semitism.
No, I did not.
I am. Should Hamas stay in power? It's actually
you done yet?
It's actually a critical question.
Are you done yet?
It's a critical question.
Are you done yet?
Look, it's the question.
Are you done yet?
Should they stay in power?
Are you done yet?
This country says they're a terror group. Do you agree? And should they stay in power?
Listen, I do not approve, support, or welcome Hamas.
Are you prepared to call Hamas a terror group?
Is it possible to have a rational discussion with you? Is it possible? Come on, answer that question.
You can't, can you?
You answer it.
No, it's my show. You answer my question. Now, the point of playing that clip, other than to entertain you, as I'm sure it did, is that, yes...
I hate that clip. I hate everything about that
No,
clip.
this is my
Why do you hate
show.
it?
I hate it because I don't like Jeremy Corbyn, but I think he's a bombastic prick, but I also think that you should have let him finish speaking. Why? Because then he would express bad ideas.
Yeah,
That's why I support freedom of speech.
But actually, in the end, I could tell very quickly he was never going to give an answer, and therefore we were in a game of cat and mouse, which went on so long that the viewer was left in no uncertain terms what his answer actually was. Because otherwise, you just say Hamas are a terror group. It's not difficult. And in fact, 2 days later...
Piers Morgan is talented. He baited him. He baited him and baited him and baited him, and bruh just took the daggone bait and just went along with it. Are you done? Are you done? You're not gonna tell me. No, you're not gonna tell me. He's about to whoop his head. Piers, I'm about to whoop your. Ooh, he's. And then Piers looked at him and said, "No, it's my show." Piers was like, "No, it's my show." Man, shout out to Piers Morgan, bro. That's hilarious. Oh my God. He said, "No, this is my show." But Steven Crowder, he let him know, "I wish you would have let him finish." I wish you would have let him finish. He said, "Nah, because I figured out already that," okay.
Yeah, he admitted Hamas are a terror group. That was his position. But only after I shamed him into doing it. So look, here's my question for you.
So that's it. So you want to shame people into agreeing with you?
No,
I would rather just let them speak if they have bad ideas.
Not at all. I want to shame them into giving an honest opinion. What I will really lose my rag about, and I'm sure you must be the same, when people just obfuscate and don't give a straight answer to a straight, simple question, then I will go after them. If they give an honest answer, even if I don't agree with it, I respect that. And in fact, I think people who watch my show regularly will see that is my position, whether I agree with them or not. I have lots of people on that I don't really agree with. But I find the ones that I have respect for are the ones who give a straight answer to a straight question.
Hey guys, I want to say congratulations to the LFR family Twitch family. We are growing. We just now hit 2,000 followers over here on Twitch, and I'm extremely excited about it. That's the only reason why I stopped. I just noticed it. I'm like, yo, we are at 2,000 followers on Twitch. This is crazy. So thank y'all so much for following the channel.
So let me ask you a straight question. Let me ask you a straight question.
Sure.
David Duke, the former KKK leader, he's banned from Twitter.
David Duke.
Elon Musk hasn't brought him back.
Right.
Should he be allowed to be back on X?
Throw that at me. Really? You just say, I want to ask someone a straight question. You have me here. I'm basically a specter. I don't appear on anyone. You want to ask me about David Duke?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the type of show that Piers Morgan hosts. He's really good at it. Like he's a, I don't know, like what you call them, little magazines that's right next to the checkout counter in any grocery store. These dramatic stories of the stars, the tabloids. Yes, thank you so much. Who said that? Red's mom said, the tabloids. That's what he's like. Like you have Steven Crowder on your show, and you can have an extremely substantive conversation. Is it substantive or substantive conversation with him about anything? And you decide to bring up David damn Duke because you want a gotcha moment. You want a viral moment. You want to know who knows how to YouTube? Piers Morgan knows how to YouTube. That's what this is.
Yes. Because he's banned from Twitter.
Should David Duke be allowed back on X?
Yes.
I'm not as familiar with David Duke as I am with Alex, which is why I was able to point out that you cannot prove that he knowingly lied about anything.
No.
If David Duke has called for the violence, look, if David Duke has called for the violence, actions of violence against minority groups, then no. If David Duke has espoused horrible points of view that can be refuted, by the way, not only by other people who are on X, but by the community notes on X, and on a platform where people are free to speak on both sides of the aisle, then yes. It doesn't mean that I think he's anything other than a racist prick.
So I'm trying to work out whether you...
Can I make one point?
Yeah.
Can I make one point that I think is this is really, and hopefully we can agree on this, because I actually disagree with you that Elon Musk can do whatever he wants with his own platform. It comes down to this. I think, and if you look at the historical record, I think it is far more dangerous for society to engage in a culture of censorship, of viewpoint discrimination, than it is to allow people to speak freely, barring the committing of violent crimes. I think that we see a far worse dystopia in our future if we allow the government and these big tech platforms to determine who can speak and who cannot. And we've seen some very clear examples of this. If you give me 30 seconds, let me lay this out for you. For example, I don't think they have the right to, for example, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Here's why. They benefit from Section 230. Now, I know you have a lot of fans in UK. They may not be familiar with this. Let me explain what it means. They're basically treated like public utilities, meaning that they have immunity from liability for someone saying something on their platform. For example, AT&T here in the States can't ban you from their phone service because your racist Aunt Tilly drops an N-bomb after a few drinks at Thanksgiving. They're a public utility. These big tech platforms are treated as platforms where they are not legally liable for what is permitted, but that allows them to engage in viewpoint discrimination. And then there is no accountability. For example, the Hunter Biden laptop story, which we know, and this is why I make all references publicly available, because I want to be held to account, and I will be held to account, would have changed the election if the government was not, and when I say colluding, I mean Joe Biden, Jen Psaki, Kamala Harris, Karen Jean-Pierre, calling for the removal
Stephen
of
Crowder,
Joe Rogan from
he's
Spotify,
smart as hell.
calling for the removal of vaccine scientists, by the way, of mRNA vaccine scientists from public platforms. If all information was allowed to be transmitted freely, like the platforms, as they are treated under our legal precedent here and Section 230, guess what? Donald Trump would be president. I'm saying this as a matter of record and fact. Millions of people would not have gotten the mRNA vaccine, specifically men under 30, and lockdowns would have lasted days, weeks, not years. That is irrefutable, but you had the government and these platforms deciding which views were allowed and which views weren't. And I don't think I should be allowed, you should be allowed, and certainly not the government colluding with 5 companies who control over 90% of the information in the digital sphere. It is terrifying to me. You may think I'm an absolutist. I think I'm reasonable.
No, I don't. I actually don't think that's unreasonable at all. In fact, I have written numerous columns about the outrage of the New York Post having that initial expose of Hunter Biden's laptop censored by Twitter, as it was then, for 2 weeks right before the 2020 election. You know, I've said to Donald Trump to his face, never mind the stolen election bullshit you keep trying to pretend happened. I said, focus on that, because that probably swung the election, because it stopped the media investigating properly.
Y'all heard how he said it? Instead of focusing on the false bull sugar honey iced tea about the election, the false bull sugar honey iced tea about the brother, how you gonna call it BS? You don't know.
Properly what was going on with Hunter Biden in Ukraine and what his father's involvement would be. I think that could have spun the election. So I absolutely agree with you.
Let me give you a funny story about it. And not only could it would have, according to Dr. Epstein. Do you realize? Now, I'm a comedian, right? This show, that's why I appreciate you said, hey, you got to chuckle from our segment. Some of it is tongue in cheek. And I appreciate that you recognize that and not try and use, you acknowledge that it's a joke, whether it's funny or not. So as a comedian, the host of a comedy show, Rudy Giuliani was on this show. And the first time the public ever saw Hunter Biden's laptop was on this show. He brought it up. He goes, I have the laptop here. The FBI came, they searched my offices. They took everything but the laptop. I go, wait. Is that the Hunter Biden laptop? He said, yes. Episode is banned. Suspended from YouTube. Think about
Allegedly. We don't want no problems. Allegedly. But y'all heard it. Y'all heard what he said. Y'all heard what he dang gonna say it.
that. Think about how terrifying it is. It was an accident.
It's wrong. It's wrong. Let me ask you though, yesterday on your show, you appeared wearing a t-shirt saying Alex Jones was right, changed my mind. So my question is, what was he right about?
Oh gosh, how much time do you have?
Well, are you talking about Sandy Hook?
No, I'm not talking about Sandy Hook. He said he was wrong about Sandy Hook.
Right.
He apologized for Sandy Hook.
When he was sued, he said he was
eventually, but I'm saying obviously the shirt wouldn't be addressing that. If it's he says I was wrong, it would be awfully daft.
But what are you alluding to then?
I'm alluding to, for crying out loud, if you talk about intelligence agencies spying on Americans, if you talk about what we've done with South American countries, as allowing the spread of STDs, for which Hillary Clinton apologized for, if you talk about nation building, where there have been underhanded deals with nations who don't have our best interests at heart, I mean, it's, take your pick. I don't believe that, for example, George W. Bush was next to the Twin Towers with an Acme plunger. No, I'm not that kind of a conspiracy theorist. But when Alex Jones said, look, you are going to be corralled into social media ghettos and lose your right to speak, he was right. He's right about a lot. And I will say this, he's been wrong about plenty. I am not here to defend everything that Alex Jones has ever said. I'm willing to defend everything that I have said on my program. But That man is exactly who you would expect him to be. He's a friend of mine. And when everyone else tucked tail and they ran, I'm not going to do that. I'll tell him he's wrong. I'll tell you where I think he's wrong. But that man has a right to speak, just like I believe you have the right to speak. And Piers, if you think they're not going to come for you, oh my word, do you have another thing coming? And I hope that you don't. I genuinely hope that you don't.
Well,
I mean, I've had people say that I was a hate speaker because I said soccer was gay. I do. I think so.
You think soccer's gay?
Homosexual, yes.
They was having such a wonderful adult conversation. And then Piers Morgan Piers Morgan seriously with a straight face asked him, so you think soccer is gay? So you think soccer is gay? In my head, just thinking I'm looking all crazy. I promise, man. I don't know what's going on with this planet, man. This is so funny. He said he thinks soccer is. He said he thinks this homosexual, bro. This is hilarious. So you think soccer is gay? All right, let's listen to this one more time. I'm sorry. I promise you. I ain't gonna stop it no more.
Just like I believe you have the right to speak. And Piers, if you think they're not going to come for you, oh my word, do you have another thing coming? And I hope that you don't. I genuinely hope that you don't.
Well,
I mean, I've had people say that I was a hate speaker because I said soccer was gay. I do. I think so.
You think soccer's gay?
Homosexual, yes.
You know what? That's a whole nother debate, Stephen Crowder. Let's have a debate about whether soccer is gay. And if it is, by the way, I would be happy to embrace its homosexual side.
Well, I know you.
Oh my gracious. He went straight woke with it, didn't he? He went straight woke with it. He was like, and I'm already ready to embrace the homosexual side of soccer. Come on, soccer. Yeah, you're not supposed to use no hands. Use your foot. Come on, give me a high foot. Give me a high foot. Okay, girl. Okay, gay foot girl. Gay cleat. Give me a cleat. Because you're not supposed to use your hands in soccer unless you're the goalie. At least I think so.
You would. I know you would. But with that accent, you have to be careful. People will take you seriously. I think it's great. I think it's great if you're a 6-year-old girl or a homosexual from Greece, to quote Nick DiPaolo.
Yeah.
He's calling all of soccer. This dude is going to get some soccer players be strong as hell, man. They might catch you slipping somewhere.
You know the difference between our football and your football? We don't wear helmets to protect ourselves. We're real men over here.
You also don't allow contact.
We're real men over here. There's no great padding or.
Yeah, y'all also don't allow contact, Pierce. So he didn't beat that. Whatever you're about to say, it's no padding or no, you don't allow contact, bro. There is some contact though. There is some contact. Don't try to act like it ain't no contact, but come on. When we was doing it as kids, we were fine. You don't think we can do the same thing as grown men that work out and train to be able to run around all damn day and run up against each other and slide and all. We are what we train our bodies to do. So, yeah.
You know, great shoulder pads and helmets. We just get stuck into each other. And that's the difference. Americans
and Academy Awards.
You like to wear helmets and carry guns. We just use these guns.
He said you like to wear helmets and carry guns. He's talking about Americans. Y'all hear him, right? Y'all like to wear helmets for NFL, for football, and you like to carry guns. He's talking about all of you MAGA Republicans. He's not talking to nobody else. Just MAGA Republicans or Vivek Republicans, whichever ones you are. Or if you're a Nikki Haley Republicans, some of y'all probably Nikki Haley Republicans. Or Krispy Kreme Republicans. That's what y'all are. Mm-hmm.
That's a whole other debate as well. Stephen Crowder, got to leave it there. It's been a good debate. I've actually enjoyed the tone of this debate. I think it's a really interesting area, free speech. I think ultimately we agree about more things with free speech than we disagree. But let's keep the debate going. Thank you for joining me.
Merry Christmas, Piers. I appreciate it.
Angie, all the best.
I think that was so dope, man. I think that was so dope. That was a great conversation. And I wish we can have more like that because this started with a misunderstanding and it ended with a kind, thank you, man. That was a good conversation. I had fun. Neither one of them was pissed off, both kind-hearted. This is what a conversation is supposed to be like, man. And they didn't agree with each other the majority of the conversation. If you watched it, they didn't agree with each other, but they had ways that, like, Piers Morgan just wanted to stick to his guns and try to pit Steven Crowder into a corner, but he just couldn't. Steven Crowder didn't. It wasn't like Steven Crowder was too clever or anything like that. It's just Steven Crowder just came with facts. That's it. He just came with facts. And when it was Piers Morgan's time to come with facts, no facts. None. He didn't give you anything. Nothing. I'm not quoting the law. I'm not quoting nothing. I'm not even going, I know this is my show, but I'm not even going to Google anything while we're sitting right here. Because he could have done that. He was like, wait a minute, it says right here. Let me pull this up right here. Or he could have one of his producers pull it up. Pull up that information that we just now saw. Patrick Bet-David does that on Valuetainment. Whenever he's having a conversation with somebody and they mention something, or he mentions something that he can't remember the facts to or the details to at that moment, he get them to pull up the story. Joe Rogan does it too. So, yeah, he could have done it if he had the facts, but he didn't. He was just trying to pit Steven Crowder into a corner. He just wanted to have a debate for clicks. Like I told you before, Piers Morgan, if he knows how to do nothing else, this brother knows how to YouTube. He knows how to damn YouTube. A lot of us want to get the type of viewership and numbers that he gets and have the same organization and look of his show, but he knows how to YouTube. So he's trying to set Steven Crowder up for those moments. He won a couple of moments, but clearly it wasn't necessary. I mean, we received something from it. You know what I mean? And plus, this is a start. I mean, if Steven Crowder and Piers Morgan could get together and have this type of conversation, everyone else can as well. And plus, they brought up some great topics that can be discussed by others as well who are related or who were mentioned in the conversation between them two. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. Hopefully, y'all did too. Y'all let me know whatever y'all want me to know in the comments below. If you have yet to join hit that subscribe button, please make sure you do so on your way out the door.